Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome.
Oh, look, Paola's here. Paola,
Yay.
yay. All the way from Peru.
Welcome to session 2 of the Way of the Mystic. Our session today is on the body. It's going to be a wonderful session. Thank you for joining us. Let's see who's here.
Ray.
Anne and Ray, hi. And Barbara. We have two Barbaras, Barbara A and Barbara R. Hi. Hi, Deborah.
Hey.
Hi, Hillary. Hi, Jody. Hi, Kimberly. Oh, I'm so glad you made it. That's really
Yay.
great. Wonderful. Yeah. And Marius and Mike. Hi, Mike. Paula and Pat and Patricia. Welcome. Patricia's new this week. Welcome. Thanks for
Hi,
joining us.
Patricia.
And Rita and Jody. Hi. Hi, everybody. So welcome and thank you for being with us.
Okay. Wow. Oh, I've been really looking forward to this. As you know, just about everything I've taught for the last 40 years actually has been around being embodied. And so I'm particularly excited about this. Just about everything I've been teaching for many years, decades, has been based in the body. And my first shamanic teacher was Gabrielle Roth. And many people don't think of her as a shamanic teacher, but she certainly was. And it was all about the body and the five rhythms. If you don't know who she is, she's the creator of Five Rhythms. And I studied with her for close to 40 years. We have a lot to cover. So welcome, everybody. I am so glad you're here. And I hope that you're all safe and dealing with the things that are coming up with the global pandemic. I hope that some of you had an opportunity to listen to my response to the epidemic, and particularly around the fear that it's bringing up. If you haven't, there's a nice little meditation in that you're welcome to listen to. But the basic message was that we look at this thing out there, the pandemic, the virus, the thing outside of ourselves. And so we look at it like the fear is being caused from somewhere outside myself. But really what's happening is it's bringing up the fear that's already there. There wouldn't be any fear if it wasn't already there. So the opportunity for us is to actually go into the body, go into the fear, and begin to recognize that. And a lot of what we're going to be talking about tonight is a way to go back and heal those dissociated, those soul lost parts of ourself that were suppressed when we had a frightening or a threatening event or something. And that's really, there's another kind of fear too, but that's the basis of most of our fear, is coming from that place. So this is an amazing opportunity in so many ways. And that's one of them, is the personal healing, but also the global healing that's possible, because it's bringing us all together in a commonality. And my hope is that this is the beginning of the great turning to an interconnected world. And we'll see how it all plays out and how much the fear impacts this. And one of the things that we'll be looking at tonight is how to deal with that. So it's really great to have you here. I think what I'd like to do, just because it took things to get here, and there is so much in the air, in the field, that I'd like to just take and do a very short beginning meditation. I'm going to do a longer one later, but if you could just take a moment to close your eyes and join me with a couple breaths. Just feeling your feet on the floor. And just noticing what's happening in your body right now. Just notice any energy being movement in the body. Notice any stuck places or numb places or painful spots. Just do a quick body scan and feel yourself settling into your body, just landing in your body. Feel any tingling or any kind of movement. And just notice that as you continue to breathe. Deep breath, breathing in, pausing, and feel that still place as we release on the out breath. And pausing, noticing any emotions that might be arising. Can you name your emotion that you're feeling now? Can you find it in your body? Just notice. If not, that's fine. Just see if you can identify whatever emotion or emotions are present for you. And then taking another moment to notice mental activity. Can we just use the breath to slow that down a little bit? Breathing in and pausing, breathing out, relaxing, releasing all that it took to get here. And then just beginning to notice your sense of relatedness to the world, to others, to what's outside the boundaries of the skin. Are you feeling closed or open? How is this isolation that most people are in feeling to you? You feel okay just being with yourself? Or are you feeling a need to connect? And just noticing these things. And then let's just take a couple more deep breaths. Maybe make a little noise on the out breath. One more. And letting our eyes, just feeling that in our body. Yeah, welcome back. So one of the things we wanted to do fairly rapidly, we sent out a list of agreements because it's really important in order to go as deep as I know many of you really want to go deep. We really need to create a safe container. And so we have a list of agreements that we'd like to go through with you and to just get your agreement on each of them. Or if you'd like to change any of them, then just raise your hand or you can unmute yourselves and just say something as we go through. Okay.
Okay, so number one, all interactions are confidential, and group members agree, if speaking with someone outside the group, to only share about your own personal experiences. Number two, if a group member has spoken about an issue, don't assume that you're welcome to explore the issue with them. Ask permission first. Number three, honor and hold sacred space and speak and listen to forward the action within the sacred space. Number four, when a group member is speaking, refrain from using the chat window to have side conversations or to make comments. Number five, we're here to hold space for each other, not to fix anyone else. Number six.
Not to fix yourself either. There's nothing to fix. Let's change the wording on that.
Okay. Number six, practice self-authority. We are responsible for having our own needs met. It's our responsibility to ask for help or to say if we feel unsafe. Number seven, integrity, which is to be whole and complete. We agree to honor our word as ourself and to take full responsibility for any broken agreements without story as soon as we know we haven't honored our word. Number eight, practice mindfulness. Our intention is to notice when we're not present with the group and to bring ourselves back. Number nine, practice openness, authenticity, and honesty for the highest good for all.
Beautiful. So anyone have any comments about these? Anything at all that you want to say? Anything that you want to change? I want to just take that one word off the end of that sentence. Else, just take the else off.
You can either speak or you can write in the chat box if there's any changes or if you'd like to agree.
No? So we're assuming if you don't say anything, this is the next part, that you're agreeing to these agreements. So if anyone can't agree to these agreements, then please raise your hand or let us know so we know that everyone is in alignment and that we have a common bond here with these agreements. So, hi, Bonnie. I'm so glad you're here. How's it going out there? Crazy?
It's crazy. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
like you're in a war zone. The shelves are empty, and you know,
Yeah. We have a couple people who are in the medical profession here, so I'm just actually Annette is probably not going to be on the whole time because she's working around the clock, and Bonnie and Bonnie's active in many things, but also a doctor. So thanks for being here and making the time to come in that crazy schedule. Okay, so like I said, lots to go over today. I do want to, one more thing, I want to encourage you to get on the, if you haven't done a Facebook recording, it's really nice to see and be introduced to each of you. So we have this, we're creating a container here. And so please, I hate Facebook. Anyone who knows me knows that I don't do Facebook, and mostly other people do it for me. But in this case, you'll see that I answer everything and actually put a lot of time into working with you on the Facebook. So if you need anything, please use Facebook, or you can directly get a hold of me also. But Facebook is good because if you have a question or an issue going on, and it's likely that many other people have the same thing going on. So I just want to underline that. And if you haven't had a chance to do a video, it's very simple. And if you can't figure it out, we have Marielle here who can show you how to do it and help you do it.
I did a little post with the instructions right in Facebook. So
oh,
it's
good.
there for people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this session is about discovering our body as a conduit for connecting with our soul's purpose. We have this idea that our soul is in us, but actually we're in our soul. And when we begin to remove all the layers that are there, we get in tune with why are we really here? What's our purpose? And how are we healing here? So as we integrate trauma, past experiences, dissociated parts, places where there was fear that we had to protect ourselves, then we retrieve that energy, and when we embody ourselves, we reclaim our birthright of belonging. Many of us have a sense of not belonging, but you're in a body, so you do belong because you're here, and that's the main path. I wanted to say a little more. People asked me, I'm not sure if it was on this call or in another venue, but asking me, what's the difference between shamanism and mysticism? Shamanism is a mystical path. There are other mystical paths, but basically it only differs in the kinds of techniques that are used. A druid uses different than a Kabbalist, for instance. Those are mystical paths. So that's the only difference here. Mysticism is the bowl that shamanism lives in. So if you had a question about that, and they are all animistic. In other words, anima means breath or spirit or life. And it's the belief that all creatures, places, everything has a spiritual essence, and including our body parts. Another way people call that nowadays is panpsychism, which is a big conversation in the biological, philosophical realm to solve the hard problem, which is how can a piece of meat have consciousness? And that's about the shortest way I could possibly ever say that. So it's that everything, including our parts of our body, has something to say, has spirit, has a history and a story. And when I say we, I talk about ourselves, our culture, and our cultural perception. We've deadened ourselves. We've deadened ourselves to the amazing, magical, mysterious machine that we're in. It's not a machine. It's a living organism, a system that we are walking around in. And we've deadened ourselves, I guess is what I want to say, to the subtle energies and possibilities of being in a body. So today is really about, well, how do we undeaden ourselves so we can reclaim the mystery of just being alive and being in and operating in a world that's basically dead and doesn't know it. And when I say dead, I mean dead to these competencies that we haven't touched into. And I should say that there's no distinction for me when I talk about healing and when I talk about spiritual growth. They are, to me, the same thing. They're one in the same thing, which another way to say that is finding wholeness within ourselves and the world. So wholeness, I'm talking about physical, mental, emotional, relational wholeness, where we have alignment, where we have congruence. We walk the talk, we speak it, we feel it, we share it with others. So that's when I'm talking about wholeness. It's important to realize that it's our nature to heal. You know, when you have a cut, right, and you have a cut, you don't have to do anything to heal that. You don't have to fix it. In fact, if you start picking at it, it won't heal. You leave it alone and it naturally heals. Well, all of our entire being is made that, whether it's emotional, physical, mental healing, it's trying. So these things that are arising in us, like in the pandemic that's going on right now, all those things are coming up to be healed. So we want to push them away. We want to shove them down. No, that's not what there is to do. What there is to do is notice that something is arising, whether it's fear or whether it's whatever is coming up is there to be healed. So that's why I say a mystic's path is to use everything in our path to heal. Every encounter, every upset, every disappointment, whatever happens, it's our natural reaction to heal. And we have been suppressing the natural ability to heal. And just to say something about resistance too. So what's resistance? Resistance is simply our identity. And I'm not saying that's what we're healing. That's what we're expanding away from, our ego, our identity. Resistance is just protection for the identity. And it comes out of the fear of change, because we get afraid of change. It's unknown. Instead of embracing uncertainty, we push it away. And that's a big part of the work that we're doing here. So don't resist your resistance. And if you do resist your resistance, love that. Embrace it and love it, because underneath is the healing, the growth, and it's our soul's evolutionary path that we're awakening and growing. And it's a counterforce to healing and to what's wanting to be. It's the frozen energy that lives at a particular age when it happened. The it being some fear, some way of dissociating, some soul loss. And it's really an amazing system, actually, because Thomas Hübl, one of my main teachers, calls it childhood friends. Our childhood friends, because we got overwhelmed when we were 3, when something happened. So we suppressed a part of ourselves, but we could continue to function. When we're 5, something else happened. We pushed down something, we froze something, some energy in ourselves to protect us at that time, so we could continue to do all the other things we were doing. So this resistance is a counterforce to healing, and the frozen energy lives in the age that it happened at. So a lot of the work we do will begin to notice, well, what age did that actually happen? You don't have to know precisely, but you'll notice that they're, working in corporate world and sometimes with CEOs or senior people in an organization, and you're suddenly really surprised when the CEO of a company is acting like a 5-year-old. Well, that's because they're stuck in a 5-year-old response of energy, and that hasn't been healed in them. So that's what we're doing here. Fear is just something that your identity can't handle at the moment. Fear is something your identity cannot currently handle. It's too much. So what we need to do is, well, too much of what? And we need to then break it down and figure out, okay, and there's the thing called titration in chemistry, and it also means going slow. So just to be safe here, we're not going to re-traumatize anyone in this course by suddenly being in the worst, most horrible thing that happened to you ever in your life. We do it in stages. That's called titration. But we're working with all the things that keep us from hearing our soul's calling, all of these suppressed, rejected, dissociated parts of ourselves that were too much at some time, too overwhelming. So the fear, anxiety, or the threats are to rob us of our essential energy. And what we're going to be doing in this course, and why we're working on the body, is to unfreeze that energy. And I'm going to talk a lot about energy tonight. And it's interesting because we don't notice it because it becomes our normal and everybody else is operating that way. But it is not normal to have everything suppressed and frozen, and it takes an enormous amount of energy. I think I mentioned last time, it's like, you know, you put something in the freezer and it freezes, and then the energy has to keep coming down to keep it frozen. But at some point, you take it out of the refrigerator and it thaws out, and then the energy doesn't have to continually be going to keep it down. So we're thawing ourselves out in this process that we're going through. And when we resurface these earlier things that are happening. And the whole process, this whole unfreezing process, starts with becoming embodied. So our beliefs shape our perception of the world, which I talked about before, and they're a byproduct of this kind of suppression that happens, this beautiful way that our body has an intelligence to shut something off so you don't die from fright or whatever happens. Okay, so the body's the primary instrument, and the body says, I'm here, you know, I belong. So anybody who's got these issues about not feeling like you belong, well, you've got a body, you have to belong, you're here. And anything that isn't in the present is a story from the past or a fear of the future that we're not accessing, because we are here, we do belong. It's a question that can only come from the identity when you're not present. And this connection, this is in our soul. Our body is in our soul, not the other way around. And you know, we have to recognize that this thing that we are in, that walks around and talks and feels and has all this, has evolved over about 6 million years it's taken to get to this form. It would be such a shame to waste it, to destroy humanity when it took 6 million years to get this thing like it is. And so what makes up a body? I'm going to talk about 3 components. Remember, if something isn't clear, write a question in the chat. Marielle's watching the chat to see if you have something. So a lot of times I'll go too fast, or I'll think it's clear and it's not. So please make sure you write a question if you have any questions at all. 3 component parts to the body: space, energy, and structure. Okay, that's what we're going to be working with today, looking at the 3 components of the body: space, energy, and structure. And the first one is space. And that's, you've heard me talk before about my 3 tools: witnessing, presencing, and embracing. Presencing, witnessing, and embracing. And they very much come into play here. So what does it mean to presence? So space is the capacity to presence, to bring yourself into the presence, into the here and now. And it really needs to be cultivated because mostly we're absent, we're distracted, we're distancing from the world. So seeing, real seeing, not not figuring out, but seeing. Figuring out is the minding, but real seeing with the entire body is presencing, and presencing is seeing. And it's effortless. And when you're seeing, your feelings are also aligned because they have a body aspect of them, which we're going to talk about. So not seeing actually takes energy, whereas seeing doesn't. But seeing takes practice, because that's why we sit, we contemplate, we take the time to actually see and to not allow the past to overshadow the present, the now. And that's a big part of it. So if I'm talking about presence and you hear me say that, I'm talking about seeing, I'm talking about inner availability, I'm talking about the feeling of widening or relaxing into or touching into inner stillness and spaciousness. Space has consciousness, it's intelligent, it has ancient memories, and it's the blueprint of life. It contains the intelligence of life. And so space comes from the capacity that we develop, which is what this course is about, the capacity to digest and integrate experiences, unexperienced experiences, ones that we haven't experienced yet, those ones that are suppressed. So like when we get triggered, it feels like, oh, it's tight. There's not enough space. It's tight in there. You know, it's tight in my head. It's tight in my body. My feelings feel tight. And and we get absent. We're not in our body when it gets too tight. So really spaciousness and presencing, opening that up, is again digesting those unexperienced experiences. And integration creates presence. So how do you create this space, this presencing of space? Well, meditation, contemplation, taking downtime, yesterday I took a walk in the woods. I, recorded another video sitting out there by the ocean. It was beautiful, but I left, I was in the woods, I was breathing the air. So it felt really good to do that. And to slow our nervous system down. The human body and the nervous system have this incredible capacity to split off from the experience, but we also have which is the suppressing, which causes the overwhelm and the fragment, but it also has this wonderful ability to actually come back and an intelligence to heal these areas of soul loss. And we reclaim them through presencing, witnessing, and embracing. So witnessing, the second characteristic of this, and fits in the space area, is the ability to see from a distance. So where we've been split off or fragmented from our essential goodness or wholeness, what we're doing is we're taking a microscopic view or a telescopic view. So we're zoning in on these parts of ourselves. So it's really like getting, what do you call it, a larger view of something that has been hidden with everything else going on. So that's what witnessing is. It zooms in, and witnessing is always aware of energy, because what you see when you witness is this flows of energy moving through your body, around your body, in your body. And it's experienced in movement and in sensation, and it includes very subtle awarenesses, like feeling the energy around ourselves, or tuning ourselves. So if my eye is closed, I can feel how far away the wall is over here. I can actually feel that space in there. there's this amazing thing going on in England, and somebody's bringing it to Vancouver actually, where children from the age of about 3 to 7 or 8 are, if someone wants to know more about it, I'll send you a link. It's amazing. They're blindfold, and they've been trained at that age, before they think they can't. They've been trained to read with total dark out blacknesses, or catch a ball that someone throws to them and see it, or see what somebody's holding up, like a sign, or anything they're doing. They're completely blindfolded. But we all have that capacity. It's just been blown out of us by our beliefs, taken away from us by our beliefs. So witnessing is aware of energy. And in order to be able to tap into this energy, we have to have enough time space. I'm not going to get into time space right now, but they go together. When we're talking about this cultivation of space, it's time space, because it's always happening now at this moment in 4 dimensions. And I'll say more, not in this class, but in one of the later classes. So if our capacity is always full, then we have stress, we have anxiety, we have no room to bring in anything else. We don't have the time or space to slow down and witness the fragmented parts. So it's really important that we take this time to develop our inner capacity, our space. You can't witness from there, quote, there. You can only witness from here. And if you notice the speed with which we're moving, most of us feel that there is where we want to get to, and it's more important, but it's never there. It's always here. I know that sounds kind of weird, but really, think about it. How much we speed to, everything will be fine as soon as this happens. As soon as I win the lottery, as soon as I get the right partner, as soon as I get the house, as soon as I sell the house, as soon as I get rid of the partner. It's always something out there, and that keeps us from being able to digest and assimilate our experiences, because our capacity is filled and we can't witness. So witnessing is a really important aspect of creating space. And then we have embracing, the third one. And that's how we integrate our missing soul parts that have been split off. It's loving and embracing whatever is arising. Whatever, that's the cultural mystic. Whatever is arising, the good, the bad, and the ugly, in this spaciousness that we can open to. So many ways that we can create more space in our lives. And if you want to jot any of them down in the chat box, is there anything we should know about the chat box right now? I'm just looking.
At the bottom, Mike wrote, having a challenge with this seeing. My use of words means I see something. So
yes.
What am I doing in this context?
Thanks, Mike. That's good. I went over that not sufficiently. That's great. So do you know the term seer? Someone who actually, with their eyes closed, can see different things that are happening, a clairvoyant, or somebody who's connected at a distance. It's non-local. So when I say seeing, I'm particularly meaning the seeing with the entire body. Every bit of our body can see. Our emotions see. Our thoughts see. Our cells see. So yes, it's not just the eyes. In fact, in order to see some things, I have to close my eyes. In order to tell you the distance from here to the wall, and from a sense of space, I close my eyes, I can actually tell you. If I tell you and I look at the wall over here and it's 8 feet away, that's a concept. But if I close my eyes, I actually can see with my feeling, which is different. Does that make sense, Mike? Or you want me to go more into it?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay, good. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay. So like I said, that's space. We just talked about space, and that the 3 talents or practices that I want to develop with you are presencing, witnessing, and embracing. That creates the space so that we can expand our ability to hold more. So chaos, in a full space can't be dealt with, but chaos, when we empty our nervous system and our ability to hold more, becomes simplicity because we have room to hold it. So the second one to work with is energy. And we are energy systems, okay? Any energy, and energy is movement, and we are energy system. And any energy that we hate or that we fear will get distorted and distracted from source. What do I mean by source? I mean our spiritual connection, our connection to our soul, to the larger field of which is an energetic field of which we are a part. So when it's not being fully felt or expressed normally, like complete feeling, you'll see when we work together, you and I have numb parts. We have ways, emotions that we can't feel. When we go through the body, and again, this is all about the body. We're talking about the body. This is not some woo-woo out there craziness. This is like real, everything is energy, and energy is movement. And they move at different speeds, different variations, different vibrations. So they have different density. But going back to space, you and I are 99.99% space. But look, you can see me here. How come you're not just looking through me? I exist because energy is holding this pattern. Patterns of energy are holding it all together. Energy defines our life. And when that energy flow gets restricted by these suppressed parts, we become mentally, physically, emotionally, and relationally sick. That is what illness is. It's stuck energy. Whether it's a thought or a feeling or something in our body, it's stuck energy. Another way to say energy is it's the will to live. It's the will that we are born into. It's given to us by all these years of evolution. And that energy is our will, and it surrounds us and it flows through us, and it's embodied information. It's a library, a huge library of what's around us, what's in us, what's happening in the world. It activates our will. And our will, one of the reasons when we meditate and we hold our spine straight is because our will is something that runs down and through us. And we can talk more about that. But it's the more you can have that channel open, the more you can sense and experience the energy as it's running through you. So that's an important thing for those of you who are practicing the meditation, which I hope everybody's doing a little bit of meditation at least every day. So we try to control most everything, but we try to control our feelings, and we have these unwanted emotions and experiences. And when we try to control those feelings that we're having and that we shouldn't have them, it leads to self-hating. And hating self-hating. It's not only self-hating, then we hate self-hating and we say, I got to change that. I got to quit hating myself. Well, that just makes the ball of energy more stuck. It creates this addictive loop, and it takes us further from source, from our soul. When we do that, it's an addiction, and it's a recurrent, there's a recurrent physical response to when this energy gets stuck. Usually it's learned in childhood. It comes from unmet needs that happen, and then it gets stuck. And when we were little, we didn't get the love or the nurturing or the sense of belonging or the kindness or just being held that we needed at that time. So guess what? We have a chance to go back and give that to our younger selves. And that's what one of the things that we'll be working with. And some of this is ancestral and familial. That's handed down, because our ancestors are in every cell of my body, every cell, and their will lives in me. This is in our, not just genes, but in the very makeup. 40 trillion cells, each one having 100 trillion atoms, and they all have memory. They all have vast storehouse of what's happened over 6 million years of evolution. So, we take our time and we make space for these things to emerge in their own time, not forcing them, not trying to. There's nothing broken. I have to keep saying that. There's nothing broken. So let's see, what did I not say here? Oh, well, so out of this energy, and this energy is the essence of the will to live. It's that moving forward to live, to evolve naturally. We create structures. That's the third part. So we've got space, we've got energy, and we've got structures. And the structures are not only evolutionary, but they're created like, okay, we're born and we watch our parents and we watch the world, the two-dimensional world. When we take it into ourself, it becomes a three-dimensional world, like walking. Okay, I see people walk. I have this two-dimensional idea of walking, but then I try it and I start walking, and pretty soon I'm running, and that's a structure. Okay, speaking. We learn these structures in the beginning from our parents or whoever raised us, if we weren't with our biological parents. And they evolve and they grow as we learn. They're the conduit system of our body, or the cup that continues to expand. So you're 2 and 3, you're walking, you're running. You're 4 and 5, you're learning to read. You're learning different motor skills. Some kids this year learning computers at 4 or 3. But overall, the structure is our energetic container. You have to have something to contain the energy, and it moves in the system, which we are. We are an energetic system. And so when I ground myself, that means, what does it mean to ground? So we use that word a lot. I'm grounding myself. And I tell you, put your feet on the floor, straighten your spine, and breathe. Okay, what does that mean? That means that I'm resting in the structures of my body. And some of those structures, because of this energetic suppression, get damaged. But we have all these structures that our energy runs through, and that it's the container for the space. So structure overall relates to the capacity of my container. The capacity. How much space can I create in the energetic field that I sit in? So basically, the work of the mystic is to bring space, energy, and structure into alignment, into congruence. And as I said, there's no healing and the mystical journey are not separate. They're one thing. It's the path to wholeness. So I'll just take a moment here and see if there's any questions anyone has. Anything in the chat?
Jody just made a comment that Mark Nepo's message yesterday was about space.
Oh, I didn't hear his message yesterday. I love Mark. He's a regular on my show, and he will be on again with his new book in April, I think. So yeah, I'd love to see that, Jody. If you want to send it to me, a link to it or something, that would be awesome.
I'll maybe post it in the Facebook group. And Pat wrote, would you place the filters we've inherited or built for ourselves or placed within us from external events that warp our ability for clarity of witnessing in the energetic system?
Oh, absolutely. It's all part of the energetic system. it's the part though where the energy is frozen. It's when the energy is stuck. When you have a stream that's running, if it's running, it's healthy. And, you can see, oh, look there's fish and there's flowers and there's frogs and there's birds and there's butterflies and dragonflies all around the running water. But when it stops, when it gets stuck, it gets putrid, and we have mosquitoes and we have diseases that get born. And so that energy that gets stuck really causes, to me, that's what cancer is, or any disease in the body. It's stuck energy. It's not moving anymore. And something else is being placed in there in the structure. Pat, does that answer what you're asking, or do I need to say more about that? Oh, there you are. Where are you? Oh, yes, good. Okay. Too many videos here. Awesome. Okay. So let's, I want to do a meditation with you. And you understand that the work of the mystic is to bring space, energy, and structure into alignment, into congruence. And that's the healing path. That's what we're doing here. That's the intention of this, is to move towards wholeness. Okay. And unlikely that we'll ever reach wholeness, because wholeness would include everything. And, even the universe is always striving for congruence. The nature of the universe is to be moving towards congruence. Not necessarily the nature of humanity right now, but hopefully things that are happening right now are in alignment with that movement. So I want to do a little longer meditation with you today. What I want to do is, so I just want to begin by joining me in just getting in your body. Notice you're in a body. Your feet are on the earth. Just being with that. And then notice, how am I being breathed right now? No effort, just notice how I'm being breathed. Noticing how it's going through the nostrils, pausing. Feel the difference of breathing in. There's often a feeling of the energy going up when we breathe in, a stillness when we pause, and then a release downward on the out breath. You feel that? And if you pay attention to your spine, there's like a central channel of light that moves right from the crown of the head down to the tailbone and into the earth. And that breathing is attuning us to that central channel. So just touching into it and bringing our attention to our feet. Notice the energy in the feet. Feel how they touch the floor. Notice if you can actually inhabit your feet from the inside. Some people, it's really easy to actually see into the structure of the feet, the bones, all the bones in the foot. And with others, it takes practice. As I said, we have 40 trillion cells in the body. And every cell in our body is intensely alive. And every cell has 100 trillion atoms. And each atom has a proton, a neutron, and an electron orbit. And the light that reaches all the way out to infinity. Just take that in as you breathe. That's what's happening in your body. So just allow your body to release into its own light. You can feel the light getting stronger as you breathe in. Straight spine, relaxed body. Feeling your ankles, the lower legs, just filling with awareness, presence. And just feel the cells coming alive. Energy follows awareness. Notice your knees. And just balance or tune your awareness to the space of both knees at the same time, practicing omnipresent, breathing and noticing both knees at the same time. And just feel the absolute stillness. You don't need to hold the mind still. It's still when it's balanced. So just allow yourself to be balanced. Feeling the inside of your thighs, hamstrings, feeling the aliveness there, and feeling any place that is numb or perhaps there's pain. I notice in my right knee there's some pain there. Could be some numbness. And going up to your hip sockets. Just noticing the energy in the internal space, interiority. Feeling the stillness of the balanced mind. The movement of the breath. And then attuning to the breath, noticing when it's touching, expanding the interior. Feeling the stillness of the mind and the movement of the breath. And awareness moving from the hip sockets up the torso. Mind is still, breath is moving. Feeling the ribs and the heart, the back of the heart. See if you can inhale right through the center of your heart and feel your chest opening, your upper and lower back expanding. Every inhale being brought intensely alive. Letting your awareness enter the spaciousness. Noticing how much room is there, how much presence. Feeling the energy humming in every cell. Letting your breath just touch there with a natural exhale. Feeling inside your shoulders, the shoulder sockets. Balance the awareness of the shoulder sockets. Find them, see them both at the same time. And feel that spaciousness between the shoulders. Letting the breath touch there. Noticing how the mind becomes balanced. How you're feeling the stillness without disturbing it. Just let the breath be subtle. Not disturbing the mind, subtle, half breath, half mind, still. Inside the arms and the biceps, deltoids, hands and fingertips. Hands are the messengers of the heart. Feel the energy flowing from the heart to the tips of the fingers as you breathe in, inhabiting the space of the wrists, the arms. Really zooming into every cell. Releasing, surrendering to Source. Inside the neck, the front and the back and the sides. Feel the breath passing in and out. Just touching the deepest place in your cellular nature. Connecting with the light that's connected to the wind current, the breath behind all of life. Relax your head and face and forehead, inhabiting the space inside your eyes, behind your cheekbones and your nose, your jaw, the space of your mouth, tongue, lips, chin, ears. Feel the vitality in the space, the energy. Just feeling the stillness. Feel a sense of energy inside your whole body all at once, every cell intensely alive. The cellular nature just disappears into formlessness. Feel it as a whole body. Not just the temple of the spirit, but waking up to the body as spirit. Keeping the breath smooth. As you move into your cellular nature, touching the light within. Every inhale brings the breath into the cells, the light, the lightness, the spaciousness inhabiting the entire body. Having the breath move us into our spacious interiority, our boundless nature within. A slight shift to attune to the space around your body, outside your body. And see if you can feel the space inside and the space outside of your body as a continuous space. Remember the atoms, they're the natural building blocks of the universe. They are space. Allowing the space outside your body to pervade you. Just let it pervade your whole body. Bringing the breath through the space, back to the subtle channel, the spine, down the body, filling the cellular nature of your body. Almost all space, touching the light of the electron field. Feel it in the core of your body. And just experience that space pervading your whole body. While your breath touches deeper, atoms touching atoms. attuning to the space that's already pervading you. See if you can experience your space pervading, touching, going into everything around you. Attune to that space and everything else. Atoms, nucleus, neutrons, electron orbit. One continuous space. Not only pervading your body, but the room you're in, everything around you. Imagine the space is so subtle that consciousness goes through the walls, through all form. Just being inside your body while you sit in this space. How far out can you feel the spaciousness? Bringing you into the current behind all life. And allowing it to touch the deepest part with your breath. And just feel the freedom in this movement. Mind is still. Breath is even. Staying in the space within the body. Every inhale touching the space within. And out breath touching the continuous space that runs all the way to the edges of infinity. And just take a couple more deep breaths. And begin to wiggle your toes and fingers. And open your eyes when you're ready. And just allow yourself to come back. Welcome back. Okay, so I hope that was useful. Anyone want to share their experience or have any questions? This is an opportunity for coaching, for opening, for clarifying. Let's hear how you're doing. Yes, Rita, please.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I took a class with a woman named Eileen Music. Does anybody know her?
No.
She does biotuning energy with biotuning forks.
Mm-hmm.
And she was mentioning that we should go out every day and walk on the earth without rubber shoes, because the electromagnetic energy of the earth is a very healing for our bodies, really. And the reason, there are many times because of the fact that we are always using or wearing rubber soles, that causes a lot of the energy to like stop within our bodies, and that we have this negative and positive energy flowing constantly throughout the body. And this was kind of a surprise for me, because I knew about it. I mean, even when you're driving down the road and you put your hand to, there might be you're listening to the radio and you put your hand on the radio and you can hear the song better. So there's this, so it's like, oh my gosh. So this was kind of an eye-opening thing for me. So I try and do that at least once or twice a day. Even, not when it's snowing, of course, but to just get out. Because when growing up, I used to walk all the time barefoot when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's great.
So,
yeah, even when it's snowing, it's good to do.
probably.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. I just remembered scene in Ireland. I was hiking with John O'Donoghue and Connemara up to this place where St. Patrick's went, and it was all muddy, and I had these heavy boots on, and there was a bunch of us with John, and everybody's cracking up because I took my shoes off and left them at the car. And by the time I got to the top of the mountain, walking in barefoot in mud, I think I saw St. Patrick that day. Fitting story for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah? But yeah, there is definitely something to say about that connection without the separation. And Holly said, my cat really gravitates towards me when I'm meditating. My thoughts went to some conversations I've been putting off and was in and out of connecting with my body. It felt like work to keep pulling back. Yeah, I think as you practice, Holly, that it won't feel like work. It'll just feel like a natural thing. And one of the ways that people deal with that is just to gently and softly and sweetly say, thinking, just to name what's happening. And then it'll bring you back. It shouldn't be an effort at some point. Maybe at first it is, but it's really just a matter of noticing and naming, you know, and allowing it. You don't have to wrestle it to the ground, wrestle the mind to the ground, which is some of the times, you know, that we want to do that. But just to, you know, say, sweetheart, I'm meditating, you know, whatever, like that. It's a good comment, though.
Good. Mike asked a very good question. How do you recognize areas of numbness?
Well, you can't feel anything. Yeah.
And sometimes I find a numbness might be, you know, it's a blind spot, or it's you know, it's numb, so you're not feeling it. So so it is kind of a good, interesting question to explore the areas where.
Yeah. That's why I take you through the whole body. But there are places that are intensely alive in our body, but there's also places that are numb, and those places are often, you know, I had a martial arts accident, and I have a numb place, and right here where I got hit in my solar plexus. I was with Tom Cowan, a shamanic teacher, and did a session with him, and he pulled out the shell and put it on my chest, and then he pulled out a hammer and he went whack like that. And it was quite a shocking thing, but he zoomed right into the numb place that I had. And you'll get better at being able to feel that. It's
without a hammer.
It's without a hammer. Yeah, I know. It was very shocking. I'm sure my eyes were like this big. But it's movement of energy. So numb means that energy is not moving. Yeah, that's good question. What else?
Pat wrote, this meditation blended beautifully with my Qigong meditations that pull in multiple color Qi into, through, and around the body. Wonderful.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you, Pat. Very good.
And Peasley.
Hi.
Well,
So I love the meditation, and sometimes during it, I found myself falling asleep. I had moved to sitting on the side of the bed, and sometimes I would find myself falling over. And I realized this is connected to having been more tense lately with all that's going on and the changes, and was not fighting the sleepiness, but just like everything else in meditation, whenever I wake up from it, am reminded of it, then coming back and following your voice again, being back with the energy of the meditation.
Yeah. You know, I love how you say that, because it's really not, we're so hard on ourselves, like, oh, I shouldn't be falling asleep. Well, maybe you're tired. It's okay. You know, embrace the fact that you got a little nap. It's totally okay. There is nothing in us that needs to be fixed. And the more we can embrace what is, the more we can expand our capacity. There was a certain teacher I worked with many years ago that he would open his mouth and I would fall asleep. And that was another thing, that there were things that were being said that I wasn't ready to hear too. And that's fine. We hear what we're ready to hear. It's the same with this course. I've probably said some things already in the first 2 sessions that, you're like, I don't know about that, or not able to integrate, and that's fine. We're all gonna get there together as a community. So together as a community, and when I say that, to a sense of wholeness within us, where whatever is arising is exactly what should be arising at that point. So it's great, Peasley. Thank you. That's wonderful.
And Hillary would like to speak.
Hi, Hillary. Do you need to?
I've unmuted you. Go ahead.
No, she's muted still.
Oh, still.
There.
I
Oh.
unmuted myself. Hi.
Oh, good.
Great.
Good job.
Thank you. 2 things. One is, Michael, in the very beginning of class, you said something which has been haunting me because I'm not sure I understood. You said the body, it's our body that's a conduit to our soul. And then I thought I heard you say it's our body, it is our soul, which is in our body.
No.
Or the other way around.
The other way around.
Can you please clarify that?
Yeah, no. We think of our soul as being, it's a very mechanistic perspective that we hold, and it's part of our language. And in the sacred texts and things that have been translated from a Newtonian perspective, that, we're the ultimate creation of source. But it's not true. We are born into, our being is inside of a soul. It's an energetic container, and it's a blueprint for whatever journey we're here to experience. That doesn't mean that everything that happens is our journey, but it means that we can tap into that energy of direction. Certain things happen in our life that shape our direction, and certain things have happened in our ancestors' life that have been handed down. So, but the soul is bigger than the self. The self is just our little being, but the soul is the whole energetic that we're in, that we're healing. I don't know if that makes it any clearer. And you have to take a leap of faith, actually, because it's not something that you can see. But the point is to make spirit and source larger than ego and identity. And it makes sense that when you shift from ego and identity, you would be then spirit. You would be in the field of spirits. And so it's not something that's in me. It's something that surrounds me. It's the guiding force. It's the larger energy. In the Kabbalah and other meditation techniques, they see the soul as about 3 feet above the head. And that's pretty consistent thinking in many mystical traditions. And that as we get more clear, we actually feel that light from our soul coming down through the crown of the head and filling our body. So if it was in the body, it wouldn't be filling us with light. And again, I don't have any proof for that, but I do have my own personal experience of experiencing that from doing a lot of meditation. So whether that's a projection, but I have a physical experience and a kind of inner knowing that that's accurate. I don't want to put out anything that you have to believe, in here. Again, I said in the beginning of this course that first of all, there's nothing to fix. And second of all, I'm on the journey with you. And third of all, it isn't the information that I'm putting out, but it is the experiences that you have from participating in the work, which is why I added the coaching sessions and we have one this Thursday, what time is it on Thursday?
5:30.
5:30 on Thursday, so we can actually work with real issues. So, you know, I invite you to bring areas that you feel are a problem, or an area where you have discontent in some area, that we can actually do this kind of work in real time. I've reserved these more for, wow, it's 1:23 already. Goes fast. That's why I added 3 sessions. And many things that, you know, I'd like to go in more depth, like space time, but, you know, that would take 20 minutes to go through and do that. So I'm trying to hit, but the big thing about this particular area of working with the body to remember is space, energy, and structure. And then within space, the 3 things that practices that I've been teaching along with it. Does that answer your question? Is there anything more about that, Hillary?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And anybody else? You can wave.
Also,
you can...
just an invitation just to share where you're at right now. If you have a lot, if you have a lot that you're dealing with and you want to have a community share, that's welcome.
If you're someone who feels you shouldn't speak, it's probably you that should speak. Anybody? Okay. I want to share a poem with you that many of you know. And I want to share it in the context of this particular segment of the course here. And it's by Mary Oliver. It's Wild Geese. So putting on the, you know, what we've talked about, listen from what we've been talking about today as I do this poem with you, share this poem with you. So she starts out, you do not have to be good. You do not have to be good. A lot of us want to be good. We want to do it right. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only, underline, you only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of rain are moving across the landscape, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. So I think that's really, you know, to me, the essence of what we've been talking about here. Anyone have anything to say or comment, or anything you felt or that was brought up by hearing that poem? I imagine most of you have heard it because it's quite popular, but in the context of space and energy and structure and being embodied, it's a whole another thing from my experience anyway.
Holly loves that poem.
Yeah, and we love you, Holly.
Did you want to say something, Holly? Get your hand up.
The point at which, like, I've actually seen and heard that poem before, and I'm so glad you generated it the way you did, because it really let me sink into each line of the poem and get something new from it, each part of it. And the part that really touched me, like brought tears, is like the possibility that all there is to do in life is to let the soft animal of my body love what it loves.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the biggest relief.
Mhm.
And absence of I don't know, just absence.
Absence of doing
And
this.
presence.
The absence of doing this,
Yeah,
yeah.
or in order to have to's constraint. Um, this isn't like every conversation of this is wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's just none. So
We're going to work with
yeah, thank you.
that one. Lovely, lovely. Okay, well, I have a bunch of quotes which I'm going to send
I
out.
just want to just interrupt
Oh.
you. Hillary wrote, the poem helps me embrace something major that came up during the meditation.
Oh, beautiful.
And Peasley, go
I
ahead.
have something to share that I had been experiencing much of today's session and the coming back to the body, the remembering, in terms of the experience of our human family, and we're starting to do this together. And the poem reminded me that all of that is in this vastly bigger context of all of nature, all of this precious earth, which in turn is in its big context. It's just the expansion is wonderful. It feels so at home. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, I can feel it in you, Peasley. It's delightful. So delightful. Yeah. Thank you. That's really beautiful. So we're going to send out, I have a lot of quotes about this subject. I love quotes. I pin them around myself to remember things. I want to talk just for another 1 or 2 minutes. We won't go over more than that, about the home practices, mostly journal work at this point, but also practicing in your engagements with the world. Many of us don't have a lot of engagement right now, but whatever engagement with the world, that can be the natural world too, or yourself on a phone call, that's the mystical practice, is that everything is an opportunity for expanded awareness and deepening our spiritual and growth and our health. So in the practices, and Marielle will send these out later, I'd like you to begin to list disappointments and triggers that you're experiencing in your life. So that's the stuff we have to work with. And I'd like you, if you can, to begin to do that by Thursday night when we have our session, because that would be very, very useful if you can bring it to the session. I also invite you to explore the ways that you lose, give away, deplete your energy, as well as looking at the things that recharge your battery. How do you actually get more energy, and how do you give away energy? And just journal on that. And the third thing is, again, this is in the practice here, but just beginning to ask yourself throughout the day, whenever you think of it, what am I feeling right now in this moment? What am I feeling? Can you locate the feeling? Can you define it? Can you find how it is expressed in your body? Because we're going to be working with emotions next week. So we really want you to be in touch with that emotional competency and begin to develop that. So that's all I've got for today. And just so grateful to each of you that you took the time in the middle of your day. It's really good to be with you. And I love being with you, Rita, Hillary, Bonnie, Peasley, Holly, Barbara R, and Barbara, and let's see, what's the other Barbara? A. Hi. And Patricia and Mike and Paola, welcome back. And Marius and Marielle. It's great to be with you all. I feel so honored to be with you, and it's really a privilege to work together. So if you need anything at all, let me know, let Marielle know. And please use the Facebook. If you can jump on there and do a recording, that would be awesome. All right. Anything else?
I'm
for
just
you?
going to unmute everybody. You can all say goodbye.
Okay. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all out there. Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.